Hi guys, I've started again another video, and I think this one is going to be not just one video. There'll be many more videos coming on the way for this after this video, so keep watch for those. As everybody knows, migration and immigration has been an issue in UK for many years. It's been one of the problems, and people always say that migration has put burden on the three main factors that I'm going to say. So the first one is burden on the NHS, burden on benefits, and burden on jobs. So when you have migrants, you have, apparently, according to some people who are against migrants, will say, oh dear, they come here to our countries and they take our benefits, they take our resources. But that's not true. There's policies placed in the UK that make sure that migrants can't just come and just take benefits or take whatever you think is available on the table. Why? Because the government and the UK want them to work. So they do work, they come. And most of the migrants that come to UK or other countries, if you want to say, they come for a better lifestyle. If they're just going to linger around and sit on their bottoms and not do anything, then the point of migration is pointless, if you see my drift. So that doesn't make sense with benefits. And then the NHS, well, NHS is supported by a lot of migrants. If migrants left the UK, a lot of infrastructure of the NHS will just collapse. So you gotta see that point of the side of the coin. So that's that. And then jobs. Okay, the jobs, you have to look at statistics. The last census that happened in the UK in 2011 shows that it's 82.9, but let's round it up to 83. 83% of the UK population is white British, right? So the other, which is Indians, Japanese, Asians, blacks, etc., is 17%. So you're telling me that the 17% have come to your country, not just come to your country, but took on your benefits, took on your NHS, but also work apparently, because if they're on the benefits, I don't know how that would work. So that's a bit of a wild goose chase. But nonetheless, you have this phenomenon, which is a paradox, which I would say is ridiculous, because if you look at statistics, it doesn't make sense. 17% have taken all your jobs. So the 83% is just sitting there with no jobs. Doesn't make sense. Or unless the 83%, there's a lot of people there. And when people say migrants take a lot of benefit fraud or benefit schemes or something like that, well, there's 83% white population in Britain. What about them? Do they do something like this? Do they? And they'll be like, no, we are born here. We're allowed to do this. Okay, let's go in more detail about it then, shall we? So, when did migration and all stuff started? We're pretty much around the British Empire. Britain is known to rule the world, 3/4 of the world, and if this country went around and other countries invaded other countries, it took a lot of resources from those countries, and not just resources, also people. So when they found some people, these people can work hard. You know what? Let's take them to our country. And eventually, after the Second World War, in the Second World War, migrants were used to protect England. Literally, from India and Africa, soldiers were used to, defeat the enemies of Britain. So that is another thing to consider to those people who say migrants are scum. So those people did that, and then after the Second World War, the population size in UK decreased. And after that, the UK needed manpower, which means not men, but women and men who can work in the country. And people were given visas. Doctors were given visas. Nurses were given visas. A lot of people were given visas. Some people came from Africa. Some people came from India. Some people came from Pakistan. A lot of people came from all these third world countries. And it's a shocking thing that on those days, the government didn't have an issue then. Then they started preaching about diversity. Of course you're going to have diversity. You rule 3/4 of the world, And now when you need work to be done in UK, you're going to preach about diversity when it wasn't really the issue of diversity in the beginning. If you really cared about diversity and the commonwealth of people, then you wouldn't do it in the first place. But nonetheless, so they all did this, and Winston Churchill, you know, major person in the Second World War, and Prime Minister of UK, even dehumanized the migrants in some sort of way as well. Other countries, I quote, he said, "I hate Indians. Indians are beasts, and they have a beastly religion." So therefore, he pretty much dehumanized them as much as he could. And then there was a 1943 Bengal famine, and some officers of the British Empire asked him to send some resources, or let them send some resources to those people. And he refused. He said, no, they breed like rabbits, so no, I'm not going to let them do that. We're not going to send our resources to them. So in order of that, 3 million people died in Bengal. So you got to see the big picture. You got to see the big picture. And then when you come to UK, all these people who have come to UK, they worked hard. They worked hard. And they knew they were going to work hard. That's why they took those people. And then I think my friend as well, he's been commenting on Facebook as well. I will put the video down below. Said that, what is this term? Good migrant, you know? So people who work in your country, pay your taxes, do all this, they're good migrants. But what about the ones who are British, who live in UK, who don't work? Are they good British people then? You know? If you're going to do those kind of good and bad, that paradox doesn't really go far, does it? So, coming to this, after that, globalization, what happened after, like, you know, recently, 20 to 30 years, of course, globalization happened in the British Empire, but more recently, 20 to 30 years ago, a lot of businesses started doing globalization. Within this globalization, you have a problem. Now, migration is a problem, but not of the people. I repeat, not of the people. It's the migration of businesses. Now, when you say there's no jobs left in the UK, that's because not of the people that have come in your country and trying to take your jobs, which most of the jobs that they take are the ones that most people don't want to do, but the jobs that they have been disappeared in UK, such as the textile industry, which I can comment on, that used to be enormous for Britain, enormous industry for it. After the Industrial Revolution, it kept on that as a king or empire of industrial for textiles. And all of a sudden, that textile industry now isn't there. I'm pretty sure the video that you're watching right now, watching me right now, live or once later on, the thing that you're watching it on is not from UK. It's probably from China. It's from another country. That's globalization, my friends. Even the service that you're using, the call centers of that service that you're using, maybe other companies I don't want to mention, but those call centers probably are in India, in Delhi. So when you talk about migration, think about that the jobs have gone to the other countries. That's why UK hasn't got any jobs. It's not the migration's fault. It's nothing to do with migration of people. It's the migration of businesses. And why would businesses do that? Well, number one, you got cheap materials, cheap mass raw materials that they have, and then the cheap labor. They pay pennies in comparisons to what they used to pay in the UK. In UK, people used to earn, when migrants actually came in the 1980s, 1970s, they started in the textile industry, and some of them, in one time of Britain, there was a demand of workers. There's always been. Now today, there's no demand of workers, there's a demand of jobs, like we need a job. There's so many workers running around for a job. Before, the worker would put the price with the factory owner, I'm going to get paid £20 an hour or £25 an hour, that's the reason I'm going to work with you. And the owner of the factory will agree. But that's a cost for the business. That's a cost for all these clothes. You're probably wearing some clothes which are from pretty much from Bangladesh, even if you bought it from Next or BHS, whichever company you bought it from. So you got to see it in a more overview of the whole picture. You can't go around saying, oh, migration is a problem when your own country went around to other countries. Why is Britain so well off? Why? Because it robbed other countries. Literally, 3/4 of the world was in their hands. And it robbed those countries. Those migrants wouldn't have to come to this country in the first place if their country had been left alone. So with that, not to make the video too long, I would say don't go by the blind information that you've been fed. Look around what's going on. And with that, I'll say it again, migration is a problem, but not of the people, but of the businesses that have moved from UK. And now UK doesn't really much make some products now. It's only service dependent. So Keep that in mind, and I ask my friends and my families and my people on my Facebook to share this video so those people who are discriminating or putting stigmatism on migration and migrants to know these facts. There's many more, but let's start with these ones first.